As human beings, we tend to imbue meaning into the mundane. In Wong Kar-wai's acclaimed anthology film Chungking Express, elusive encounters in inanimate objects are soaked in layers of subtle significance. The twin stories contained in the film's runtime are very loosely tethered, linked thematically by love, longing, and loneliness, as well as a takeout food stand called Midnight Express. The scale of the city accentuates a sense of alienation. People can intersect and separate in the blink of an eye, further emphasized by dense throngs and a torrent of passing lives. Both stories are distinct, yet contain an undeniable connective tissue. The first is briskly paced, even erratic at times. Darkness is punctuated by radiant lights and the glow of neon signs. It is drenched in atmosphere. The handheld camera rapidly weaves between a blurred sea of human beings, each isolated within their own personal dilemmas and complexities. The second narrative is much slower and contemplative, taking place mostly during the day and confined in the claustrophobia of tight spaces. The dual protagonists mirror one another. Both are heartbroken police officers. The first is a love-stricken young man obsessing and pining over his ex-girlfriend, May. He possesses a somewhat adolescent and idealistic notion of love, which begins to dissipate as he gradually accepts the reality of his situation. This is exemplified by the month-long plan he formulates in order to verify the legitimacy of their breakup. Every day until the expiration date of May 1st, which also happens to be his 25th birthday, he buys a tin of her favorite food. He makes several calls, reaching out to people from his past so that he can attain a semblance of human connection, seeking something, anything, in which to direct his feelings of loneliness and inadequacy. He becomes infatuated with a mysterious woman in a blonde wig. Little does he know she is a criminal and drug smuggler. After an encounter at a bar, the duo end up at a hotel, where the woman immediately falls asleep and the officer stays up watching television. This fleeting connection leads to a moment of catharsis when, later on, she wishes him a happy birthday.
368腹肌
密碼唔該。
我你啱啊，年
你702號房嘅朋友話 say happy birthday 喎。
唔該。在1994年的5月1号，有一个女人跟我讲一声生日快乐。因为这一句话，我会一直记住这个女人。如果鸡也是一个罐头的话，我希望这块罐头不会过期。如果一定要加一个日子的话，我希望它是1万年。
Second is a man who better understands life's natural rhythm. Yet, like most people, he too struggles with a deep sense of longing. He falls in love with an eccentric woman who works at the food stall and craves adventure. After a culminating series of events in which she tries to improve the quality of his life without his knowing, she leaves for California and returns a year later. The police officer has purchased and renovated the food stand. A central theme is attaining one's own happiness and feeling whole in oneself before sharing love with another human being. The ending is somewhat bittersweet and ambiguous. Despite their obvious affection for one another, we don't know completely if they pursue a genuine relationship. Both stories relate to time and the magic of the mundane moments that make up our lives. Romance and subtle beauty can be found in the smallest of interactions. The first story is about how memories in the past should be cherished. The second about how the present should be fully appreciated in its spontaneous unfolding. At its core, Chungking Express is a celebration of life. Our minds are banks of memories and emotions. That is an incredible gift. To be able to create connections as well as bask in the warmth of those who have touched our hearts in profound and long-lasting ways. Although we may feel lonely, we are never truly alone.